What up guys, it's your girl T, the nappy-headed jojoba, and today I'm sharing with you guys pretty much the #1 hairstyle that has allowed me to get to where I am in this whole hair growth experiment. The reasoning behind this style and the way I do it is just based on the idea that, barring any medical conditions, growing your hair long is primarily about preserving your ends. Keeping your ends intact rather than having them weather away and break is what allows you to actually see the growth that's coming from your scalp. We all know of the myriad protective style options that are out there, and my go-to style, the one that helped me get to where I am today, is basically a bun, but with a twist. And that twist is basically using the Baggy Method. This is something that I first learned about from Chikoro. She wrote the book Grow It. I learned about this years ago from KimmyTube originally. Remember her? In any event, I picked up this book back in 2010 when I first started trying to grow my hair out. Back then my hair was probably around neck length, maybe collarbone length. And now I'd say my hair is somewhere around waist length, although I did just trim my hair, and I trimmed a lot. She is the one who first kind of introduced me to the whole idea of the Baggy Method. There's a lot of different versions of the Baggy Method. I've even heard of, I guess, a spin-off version called the Greenhouse Effect Method. I don't know if that's right. Long story short, it involves putting oil on your hair every night and sleeping in a conditioning cap overnight every single night. That sounds not so good to me, so that is not something that I would recommend. So I'm going to show you how I do the so-called Baggy Method. And I think using this within my protective style is how I've managed to get to where I am today. And I'm pretty convinced that, you know, aside from the other hair care practices of being gentle, finger detangling, things like that, this style, using bunning with the Baggy Method, is how I've managed to keep my hair as protected as possible and actually allow it to maintain my ends as my hair grows, thus resulting in length. So this is a curl former set that I just, took down. I had it up in a bun immediately prior to filming this video. Here's everything you're going to need to do this style, by the way. You're going to need some kind of sealant for your ends. An oil is fine, a butter is fine. I'm going to be using this Chemet Biologics Olive and Honey Hydrating Balm. It's sort of a little bit of oil with some other things in there that make it a little bit more heavy duty. You're going to need a conditioning cap. I also like to use a black stocking cap. You're going to need pins. I prefer to use hair pins over bobby pins whenever possible. You're going to need something to put your hair in a ponytail. I usually just use my own hair to wrap around and put my hair in a ponytail, but since my hair's not in twists, I'm going to use one of my other things that I like to use, which I stay away from normal ponytailers. I like to use these Goody Ouchless barrettes. I can only fit my hair in these if my hair is super duper stretched, which it is right now thanks to the curl former set, or I'll use ribbon elastics. I feel like these are pretty gentle compared to a regular ouchless ponytail holder, mainly because I think the fact that they're wider means it's exerting less pressure on my hair strands. Like if I wrap this around my finger, it feels a lot gentler than a ponytail holder, like a traditional ouchless ponytail holder does, so that's why I prefer these. As usual, over-explaining everything. Last but not least, you're gonna need some wave, girl. I'm using a Phony ponytail, and I'll leave the details of the one that I have in the description box. Next up, I'm just going to coat my ends in some of this balm right quick. Run it through. And here's another key difference. I know when a lot of people do the Baggy Method or the greenhouse, whatever, they're wetting their hair in addition to apply, like they'll spray on like some spray leave-in or something like that, as well as applying an oil or some other sealant. I don't want to keep my hair wet because I'm putting it under plastic. The goal here is to keep the moisture that's in my hair, not to add moisture and then keep my hair damp or wet for a prolonged period of time. Keeping your hair wet for too long is really just asking for protein loss and mushy hair, which of course eventually leads to breakage. I'm just smoothing some of that sealant on my new growth from my formerly shaved side. It's actually finally long enough to pull into a ponytail, so that's a little milestone. It's now time to make a ponytail. I pretty much only like high buns and high ponytails. It's just my preferred look, so I'm gonna go pretty high with mine. I don't lay them edges or anything like that because I don't really have any anyway, and it's gentler to just smooth it with my hands and then just leave it be. I'm just not too pressed about having slick edges. It's not a concern for me. One reason that I like to use these goody barrettes, if I can actually get my hair stretched enough to fit it inside of one, is there's no dragging my hair through a ponytail with these. I get my hair to where I want my ponytail to be. Oh, and I'm putting this on backwards, of course, because I'm talking. I get my hair to where I want my ponytail to be, and then I just have to snap this on, and it's really soft and flexible and feels gentle on my hair. Whereas I feel like the repeated friction of dragging your hair through ponytailers over and over is ultimately creating mechanical damage. So I like to be able to just kind of fasten the goody barrette around my hair. Or like I said, if my hair were in twists or braids, I would just use my own hair and wrap it around and then tuck it. And I feel like that's just one more way to kind of save on the stress that I'm inflicting upon my hair. So now we've got a nice pineapple essentially. And what I'm going to do is just make a bun. Take these pieces from the curl former set, smooth the ends because they are going to be getting put away. In fact, I'm going to take just a little bit more of my sealant, work that on my hands so that as I smooth these ends, they're getting one last little bit of coating on there. And then I'm just going to grab a hairpin and pin the ends down in as many places as I feel I need to. But I don't go nuts with pins. If I can just tuck my hair in using 0 pins or, 1 pin, I do that kind of thing all the time. Thanks to my hair's texture, it'll probably just stay. Now, if you wanted to, and I often do, you can stop right here because a bun, just a regular old bun, is a great protective style. But I think taking it to the next level with the Baggy Method has really been good for preserving the moisture in my ends, thus minimizing their breakage and fragility. Now we're going to take our conditioning cap, and I basically just kind of stick my hand in there, double it over on itself to make it smaller, and that will fit right over my bun. Again, my hair is not wet at all. It's nicely moisturized from the product that I put in after I washed it, my leave-in, and it feels nice and moisturized. And I basically just doubled down on sealing it because I actually hadn't even sealed it before. So now we look awesome. You don't have to do this, but I just like to. I feel like it just makes everything a little bit more compact and secure to fit under the Phony ponytail. But I take a black stocking cap, always black because it just kind of blends in better, and cover that. Basically the same thing, I'm doubling it over to fit over top of the shower cap. All right, there we go. Some of the short pieces from my shaved side that's growing out are a little bit wild on the right side of my head, but I'm just tucking them in for now, and I'll probably fix it later when I can get in a proper mirror and see what the hell I'm doing. But it's a little hard to do this on camera for you guys. Next up, grab your weave, girl. This is just Marley hair on a Phony ponytail cap. I'll leave the details of it in the description box, of course. When I first started doing this, I would wear an afro puff pretty much exclusively, and it was funny, like, I went through 3 different puffs because as my hair got longer and my real puff was bigger, I felt more and more confident wearing bigger and bigger puffs. So it was like I graduated to a new puff size, and then ever since coming across this Phony ponytail, this has kind of been my go-to. So it's a drawstring Phony pony. It's got 2 combs. I'm usually very, very wary of combs in wigs, but I do use usually just one of them in the front with this style because I find that it just really helps with security. Since I have my little goody barrette here, I like these for another reason, and that's because I can basically tuck the teeth of the Phony ponytail under the goody barrette because I've got my thumb under the barrette here. And that way I don't have to really worry about it being in my hair, but it's still secured to my hair. Does that make sense? So yeah, this comb from this wig is now tucked under that oval of the goody barrette rather than into my actual hair. And then I'm going to take it to the back, and there I am going to just tuck it into my hair, take the comb and push it in as normal. Take the drawstring, pull it tight but not too tight. Next up, I just wrap the cord around until I can't wrap no mo. Grab a hairpin and then I pin that in. And I usually will take the end of the cord here. You see the pin is kind of sticking out. And then I push that through some of the netting of the ponytail's cap and just help secure that even more. And I usually put 3 to 5 pins in depending on how secure or insecure I'm feeling. I mean, 5 pins is a bit excessive if I'm going to be like maybe working out for some reason while wearing this and I'll be in public maybe, but for the most part I'm good with just like 3 pins. And again, still just using hairpins because those are my preference. You could stop here. I've been wearing this ponytail for quite some time. It's seen better days, but I also feel like that makes it look a little bit more realistic. I have literally never worn this just like this. I always take the fake hair and then make a bun on top of my real bun that's living underneath because that's the look that I like. So I take the ends and sometimes I'll split it into 2 pieces, sometimes into 3. I find it looks best if I split it into at least 2 rather than just doing one giant twist to make the bun. It just doesn't quite look right. And yeah, I'm just making a bun now as I normally would, as if this were my real hair. And pinning that end down. I like it pretty high, like obnoxiously high and large. Sometimes I have to kind of play with it to get it looking the way I want. And it is so hard doing this in a tiny viewfinder and not in a proper mirror. Ooh, Jesus. And you basically just want to make sure you have the desired shape you've got. This feels completely secure. Here you can see how it looks with a puff instead of the Marley hair bun situation. Same exact base underneath with the bagged bun. And at night I just take off whichever phony pony I'm using and I leave the bun intact if I know I'm going to be wearing the phony pony again the next day. Bag and all, I just leave it. And then the next day I just pin on whatever hair I feel like I want to wear that day. And that's it. That is my go-to ride or die protective style that has served me oh so well over the past 6+ years of actively trying to grow my hair long. I know it doesn't look perfect because I've been trying to do this in a viewfinder where I couldn't really see and you know, it's not my normal conditions, but this will at least give you the gist. Let me turn around. And there you go. I would say that at this point, the giant obnoxious bun is kind of my signature. I really miss my shaved side with it because I love that look, but ultimately it was just too high maintenance and that's why I'm growing it out. But that's another conversation. Let me know what your go-to protective style is if you do protective styling at all. I know a lot of people just don't. That is it for today. Shout out to Miss Chikoro because her book really helped me when I was first learning how to care for my hair. Let me know if you guys have read it in the comments and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.